Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to, of course, the place to be each and every Monday night, where tonight we're coming to you live from Barber Motorsports Park, where we are about to hit up round 10 of the season 15 of Monday Night Lights, where I am your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again is the good doctor himself, Dr. Alex John. Welcome back, AJ. Great to have you back.
Evening, Alex. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, mate, should be an interesting race. Not the most popular of tracks in terms of participation, but certainly the guys have come out, the regulars of Monday Night Lights have come out to help us out once again and put on a bumper strength of field tonight in the context of the week. 31.26 for those playing at home, 3,126. Not, of course, what you would class as typically a very strong field any given week, but certainly this week in amongst a hatful of low strength of fields puts us right up there with the best of them, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a nice mix of drivers in there, dominated by Australians tonight, but we have got a couple of internationals there from Iberia, Italy, and Christian Kabenka up late edition all the way from California.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to see Christian back. He's done one or two of these this season, if I'm not mistaken, due to the fact that it's school holiday time for him, of course, I think. Although he could probably correct me, but I've got to tell you, it'd be very, very late over where he is, or very, very early, depending on how you look at it. But great to see him out. Good young drive with real track experience. Of course, we do have a couple of our regular Iberians in Oscar Chinchilla-Maza and Cristobal Otero Roman making the trip. Well, it's not really a trip down under. It is, of course, at Barber Motorsports Park, so it is this challenging, undulating circuit, typical of many we see in the US. And, of course, we do also have M&L favourite here, multiple time series champion, Mr. Enzo Cantor from Italy. Great to see Enzo out. It'll be interesting to see how much track time he's had this week and what it shows up or how it displays itself in the race, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, a noticeable absence tonight is Ben Snell. So that's going to be interesting for his championship because he was up there with the chance. Kevin Henderson obviously in there as well tonight, so that's going to be a good chance for Kevin Henderson to get some points on Ben. But yeah, also Fahim Antoniadis also absent tonight, so it's looking good for the likes of Kevin Henderson and Enzo Cantor to take some of the points away from those boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of points, we'll grab a quick look at the scores while the guys are qualifying. Kevin Henderson, one of the great and original founding fathers of the great Monday Night Lights series. I don't know, if he's ever been on top of the pops, but this far deep into the season, no less, in round 10, Kevin is sitting on top of the pops in position number 1. Ben Snell, his teammate on screen in the background at the moment in Russell Clark. Ben sitting in P2. Enzo Cantor, who we mentioned before, relegated to P3 after his no-show last week, back to try and grab some points and some form along with it. P4 is Samuel Collins from ANZ, and P5 for him, Antoniadis, who made his return last week. Not perhaps the return he was after, and certainly not even here tonight, unfortunately for us, but maybe it's not a track that he, like so many others, enjoys, AJ.
Yeah, well, that's surprising because I think that this track really lends itself to the Skippy. It's got a nice little flowing nature to it, lots of nice technical sections, and there are, of course, a couple of straights mixed in there to spice things up and get a passing manoeuvre done.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this track. Like I said, typical of some of the tracks that you do see in the US, with lots of changes in elevation, challenging corners along with it. And, I've seen some footage of real life racing here, and you do get the quicker sedans or GT style cars and the open wheelers. So, there's a good mix to be had here in real life, and quite a challenging circuit along with it. Great to see Ben Furhoff back in action and actually sitting on top of the provisional qualification standings at this stage with a 36.6, which is pretty good going around here. Track temp tonight at present is 35 degrees, so quite a warm one out there for the guys. And he's sitting out there at the moment. Oh, have I got the right one? There we go. Let me get the right button. He's about 2/10 ahead of his nearest rival, Christian Kabanka, who has finished all his laps, and a good 4/10 in front of the man on screen at the moment in Enzo Cantor, which is a big margin for Ben, who I think has done some racing here this week and done it pretty well, AJ.
Yeah, that's a really impressive lap time from Verhoff there. Look, it's nearly half a second back to P3, 4, and 5. Like that's a very big gap in what is usually a tight skippy field. But I'd say don't let that plate number 7 on Verhoff's car fool you. He is completely capable of taking this one out if he's able to reel off nice, consistent, fast laps like he's done in quali.
Yeah, 100% right there. Ben is known to be very quick around the traps. Sometimes has struggled with consistency. Sometimes has struggled with internet connection, if I'm honest, which has ruled him out of some much better results than he has seen in the past. But tonight he will be starting right up in the prime position on pole, a full 2/10 clear of Kabanka, as we said. So fantastic effort for him as the quali starts to wind down. I'm pretty sure everyone has done their laps, so we might, while they are just rounding out, I think Mark Jeffrey was the only one left on track, and he's just sitting quietly in the pits. So we might grab our grid for tonight, round 10 at Barber Motorsports Park. On pole we have Mr. Ben Verhoff with a 36.6 from ANZ leading the local charge. P2 went to Christian Kabanka, up late style, as you mentioned, with a 36.9. Third position on the grid tonight, Enzo Cantor from Italy with a 37.1, looking to get amongst it early on, no doubt. P4, current series leader in Kevin Henderson. P5, Cristobal Otero Roman, first of our Iberian brethren, with a 37.1. P6, his compatriot Oscar Chinchilla Miles with a 37.2. P7, Frank Herman with a 37.2, also just a fraction separating him from a further spot up the grid. P8, Hayden Dodman, who we saw last week with that unfortunate incident with Fiedler, hoping to do better this week. P9, Russell Clark, representing Team Milo and ANZ with a 37.5. Expect him to move forward from there, all things being equal. P10, Brodie Watts from ANZ with a 37.6. Sean Carron in P11 with 37.8 from ANZ. And P12, Simon Bailey from ANZ also with a 37.9. 13th went to Jose M. Amil Perez with a 37.9 from Iberia. 14th went to Joachim Bruckner with a 37.9. Hope I got that right. 15th, Les Peck, Team Venom and ANZ club member, 38.1. 16th, Mark Jeffrey, his Team Venom teammate, with a 39.1. And that rounds out our grid. AJ, I wonder if we've got time just maybe to have a quick look at the race info. We have 15 laps around here, 55 Ks as you would expect. Air temp 23, 35 on track, as we were saying. That is a determining factor. Of course, these cars, as so many are, affected greatly by the temperature around here, AJ.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It should be really good. Lots of tight technical stuff, so 2x2 action should be a plenty.
Yeah, exactly. And great to see so many folks who may not be able to be out here on track, but certainly join us in chat. We thank you for the support, as the red lights mean the revs are rising, green lights mean go, and we are away for 15 laps around Barber Motorsports Parks, round 10, season 15, as we see Ben Verhoff lead them into the twisty, early, undulating sections around turns 2 and 3, now down the hill before they rise up again to the first of several straights around this corner on the run down to turn 5. One of the prime passing opportunities around here, AJ.
Yeah, and it looks like, who's that, Herman back there? He's going up the inside of Dodman now, or just defending from Dodman. But he had a great run, but was unable to get past Chinchilla Marza there off the start line. But it looks like we're through the first couple of turns, all nice and clean.
Yeah, everyone now coming into this tricky downhill section. Somewhat of a chicane, but plenty of them straight lining and just dealing with the challenge that is the curbs and the downhill run through the turn 7 A and B complex into turn 8 and then up this back straight here through turn 9 and 10 that you'd barely call a chicane. Holding it flat through there. The good guys out here tonight is Cantor looking up the inside of Cabanca. Was their contact? Terribly difficult place to get a pass done there. Cantor running wide as a result. I don't think they've picked up any damage and they've managed to continue on, but I tell you what, that's certainly a place where Angels fear to tread as Henderson looking to defend from Roman there. Up the inside of the final corner goes Roman. Henderson having the drive out of the corner, but will be defending once again into turn 1. AJ, I tell you what, the participation in this track I thought might leave us a bit cold, but the guys are certainly putting it a show. 2 by 2 they go through turn 1. Henderson forced around the outside. No contact, AJ, and they look to be fighting 2 by 2 all the way around the opening part of this lap, continuing on from the last one, AJ.
Oh, look, I thought Atero Roman had it there. He looked like he had the advantage over Henderson, but Henderson did a brilliant job around the outside of turn 1 to get back at him. But Atero Roman is not going to let him go. Henderson, he cuts to the apex a little bit early, but that's cost him his run out. It looks like Atero Roman, well, they're going to argue for it into the downhill chicane, and this could go anywhere.
Side by side they are coming into the turn 7 complex. A and B, they get it line astern. They get it sorted, AJ. Perhaps too tight a shot for that, but they've got it sorted there. Line astern, and I'll tell you what, it's still a deep pack back from 4th down. The front 3, though, led by Furhoff, Cantor, just in behind. Furhoff almost running away with 8/10 of a second lead. Cabanca right on the tail of Cantor now, with Henderson leading that pack behind them. The 2 Iberians, the car plates 1 and 5 tonight in Roman and Marza, really all over the tailpipe of Henderson there as they come through the final series of corners now, down into indeed the final corner at turn 15. Not side by side this time, AJ. Perhaps patience proving the better part of this lap.
Yeah, that was a good job from them. Yeah, they know that it's early days in a skippy race and you just want to get a ticket to the last lap. But, you know, I was just having a look on board with Furhoff there and he just proved how tough this track is. He got a little wide out of turn 12 and that allowed Enzo Cantor to catch up a couple of tenths on him. Enzo's now back within about half a second. So looking like Furhoff may have the pace to run away, but it's whether or not he's going to be able to keep it clean enough to bridge that gap to Enzo and break the draft.
2 by 2 they go again behind. You're right, he has closed up that gap about 4/10 now, almost got away, but these guys behind are getting very busy as now Dodman side by side with Herman into the turn 7 complex. I guess Herman's going to yield there, and he does. The rear of the car stepping out, he catches it. Fantastic recovery there from Herman. Hung on to it with now Clark looking to put pressure all over the rear of him as they run up this back straight now into the turns 9 and 10. Flatneck, oh, someone's off. Is that Furhoff? Furhoff's run off the side. Let's go back and catch what happened there to Furhoff. I'm going to guess, because he had a bit of a gap, that was all of his own making there. We said these corners were flat through.
Yeah, he's just done a nasty tank slapper. He's basically done the same thing he did last lap, just ran off on the grass, but he gassed it up too soon.
Yeah, and, just watching now, and he's just held on to it. Jeez, he kept turning left, trying to gather it up, managed to get it to stick to the right and come back on the track there. Wow, that's a tough gig to recover from there. He's done very well, but it has dropped him back into third, 1.5 seconds off the front 2, and now with a hard-charging Kevin Henderson behind him, AJ.
Yeah, well, let's see. We have seen that Furhoff has had a nice turn of pace. Maybe he'll be able to bridge this gap and bring the other guys with him. I've seen reports in the field saying that Furhoff can go a full 28 laps in the super skips last night fairly consistently. We're not seeing that now, but let's see now that he hasn't got the pressure of leading, whether he can get his head down and bridge the gap.
Two Iberians now behind Mars and Roman, almost looking side by side there. It looks like Roman's going to lead them down through the twisty bits of turn 7. Oh, takes a big bit of curb, runs very, very wide there, gathers it up, fighting side by side with his teammate there by the looks in Marza. They're going side by side, concedes once again, but now they've got pressure from Dodman behind now, and he won't be following any team orders. His team talk teammate not here tonight, but you've got 3 guys getting through there now quite well, safely through once again through the final series of corners now as they approach the tail end of lap 4. Meanwhile, back up front, you have Furhoff looking to bridge that gap down to 1.1 seconds now with Henderson 0.8 of a second behind. Furhoff there gaining 0.2 of a second through that final corner, looking to not only bridge the gap but get away from Henderson, who really missed an opportunity there to potentially... Oh, he's
Henderson,
gone!
what?
He's gone! Oh, and he's taken the inside of turn 2 there. Let's grab a quick replay. Look, perhaps he was trying there to grab as much as he could of the draft there into turn 1. The rear of the car, I'm going to bet, yeah, steps out. Look at that. Maybe pinch the rears, brought the rear around, and then it snaps as the grip grabs and spits him off the inside of the following turn at turn 2 and bang, straight into the wall. Really unfortunate there for our series leader as he's now back in the pits looking for repairs. As we jump back up front, Christian Kabanka now, after Enzo Cantor making that move early on, has settled in and decided that Venzo wants to lead it. I'm going to go with him and make my move later in the race. Furhoff still that 1.1 seconds behind with the 2 Iberians in 4th and 5th respectively. We have Roman and Marza nose to tail, trying to get away from Dodman and Herman, who are nose to tail respectively behind them. It's looking like it's a bit more spread out now, but still plenty of action throughout the field, AJ.
Yeah, it's looking like there's a cracking battle going on between Dodman and Herman. They've been racing extremely tight the whole last lap, and I'm going to be interested to see what happens with Chinchilla Marza and Otero Rahman, because I don't know what sort of team orders these guys have, whether or not they're going to work together or whether or not it's beat your teammate at all costs, Alex.
Yeah, could be potentially as we ride on board now with Marza stuck in between his teammate. Oh, and Rahman there letting the rear of the car do some walking there through turn 3 as they head up over the rise now on the approach to turn 5. Now the tight left-hander. He's going to look up the inside now of his teammate there as he cracks it through the left-hander. Dodman now all over the rear. No contact there, and all's fair in love and war potentially. Dodman now looking for the draft, looking for the opportunity into the downhill twisty bits at the turn 7 complex. Side by side, the 2 Iberians. Can the 3 of them get it sorted? Yes, they have. I'll tell you what, it's a bit of a game of chicken and who backs out first there, but they all get through safely, AJ.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's looking like the guy on the inside is coming off better, so they'll want to keep that one in mind for later on in the race when the moves are on. But it's looking like all gloves are off with the Otero Rahman and Chinchilla Marza. Oh,
Dodman.
and it looks like Dodman's got in the back of Otero Rahman. Oh, what a save!
He's hung on to it.
Otero Rahman, he has. What driving? He's going to lose 2 spots out of that. Oh, looks like he's given Dodman a little love tap as Dodman went back through again. But that was great driving from Otero Rahman there to hold on to that and at least salvage something. He's going to be able to try and work his way back up now.
Yeah, we're going to ride on board here if we can with Dodman as we go through this replay here. They're running up one of the back sections here on the straight line. Plenty of draft here. Unfortunately, not a fantastic opportunity to pass. And I'll just put there we go, so we know who we're on board with. And I just clipped him in the rear there. And as we hop on board with Rahman, look at the wheel work here as he recovered that. Again, he's having to counter steer in and off the throttle, off and on the throttle there, and just tucks in behind. And it looks like, he almost had his nose cut off again by Dodman as he pulled that up. I tell you what, that's fantastic car control from Rahman when it was brought undone, not of his own making there. Fantastic work there. He continued to fight the battle through the final corners, only relenting finally to get the better drive, hopefully, for himself out of the final corner, AJ. Fantastic battle there.
Yeah, I'd say that one got the heart rate up as continuing on. Herman and Dodman were having another go at it into turn 7, 7A, 7B, the good old American corner naming there. The turn 7 complex, and it looks like Dodman's come out on top that time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to jump back up the front because that pace of Furhoff is showing through at the moment. He is sitting tucked right in behind the front two once again, having bridged that gap. Now, the question is, can he hang on to it to save his own race and perhaps a potential victory here? And can he hang on to it well enough to get past the two in front? The questions will be answered in the second half of this race, of course. Furhoff now tucked right in behind Kabanka, looking to show the nose right and swing out to the left to try and get... No, he's just tucked back in. He is not going to attack into turn 5 here. Just settling in behind Cantor and Kabanka for the next circuit round, AJ.
Yeah, well, I'd say that Kabanka is pretty cool and calm in these sorts of situations. I'd say Enzo, he's the one that's going to really want to race. Furhoff, I'd say he's going to want to race as well. But Kabanka, he's just going to be weighing up his position here. He's not going to want to let Furhoff pass, but I think Kabanka will race smart. And if he needs to, he'll be happy to drop back to third, make sure he buys himself a ticket to the final.
Yeah, absolutely. Just ducking back and checking our battle that has been ongoing. We've lost Frank Herman from this front, and this is, I tell you what, we've blinked and we've missed it. This pack has opened right up. There must have been an incident there that split these guys up. I'm going to see if I can go back and find it, where we can find these guys together. Oh, I heard some action. All right, this will be it. Through turn 1 now. Because we lost Herman as well. I'm just trying to see what's happening here. I'm riding on board with Marzo, who's gone up right up the tail there. They just, I don't know, they just seem to have spread out.
Yeah, I've got it, Alex. Herman.
Herman.
You want it now?
Yeah, mate. I'm just going to duck back and grab it quickly again. The rear of his car just stepped out through turn 2 and 3 there. And on the exit of 3 and 4, the rear of the car just got away from him. And, he clipped the grass. That's what it was. Oh, and just never had control from there and smashes into the wall, comes out. Oh, and he's clipped the unluckiest man alive in Russell Clark, who's then spun off into the wall. I tell you what, you could write a very extensive novel or history of the bad luck of one Russell Clark, who is now languishing in the pits after that incident, AJ.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while all of that was going on, we had, who was it, Chinchilla Marzo. He got very, very wide and loose at the hairpin of which one would be turn 5, and that's let Dodman through. So there's a good battle going on there with Dodman and Chinchilla Marzo for 4th place now, as Furhoff's really harassing the back of Kabanka in this lead back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We might have on board with him once again in Furhoff as they approach the straight that leads into, or the start-finish line now. Furhoff looking up the inside, legit passing opportunity if you trust the guy beside you. And he looks like he's going to get it done. No, Kabanka defending around the outside. Great driving from the young man there. Fantastic. The 3-plated car here tonight, holding on and defending. What that is doing, though, folks, as these guys show you can get it on the grass on the outside without putting it on the inside wall, these guys now showing that they are willing to race. Oh, it's Furhoff forced to go around the outside now. Kabanka taking the defensive line. This is letting Cantor get a sniff of a race victory, or a runaway victory at least. Furhoff realising, though, or at least thinking, that he's got to get the move done, as now he is tucked in behind as I head down this downhill. Tricky. You get a good view of it here. You're riding the curbs all the way down, perhaps missing the apex a little bit there on the final right-hander there from Verhoeven, but understandable given the visibility would no doubt be limited for him through there. But what it's doing is Cantor now out to a 7/10 of a second lead. We know that Verhoeven can bridge this gap. Can Cabanca bridge this gap with a hard-charging Verhoeven putting pressure on him all the while, AJ?
Yeah, well, I'm surprised. I thought Kabanka would be, as he's run a little bit wide there, but he survived. I was surprised because I thought he'd be a little bit more calculated and, if need be, let Verhoeven through so that they didn't lose Cantor. But it's looking like Kabanka is absolutely willing to defend his position with still 5 laps to go.
Absolutely. We see the 11 car of Joachim Bruckner up ahead, about to be lapped by this lead trio. But they are battle stations continuing there on the start of lap 11. Marza now poking the nose, or showing the nose at least, up the inside of turn 1 with Dodman there. Again, looked like there might have been a touch there as the rear of Dodman's car got a bit loose. Marza not taking advantage there, redressing if there was contact and letting the racing continue. Now, what's he going to do up on the approach to turn 5 now? Just shows the nose without actually taking any action. Dodman very loose through there. Here we go. Here's a chance now. We're on board now with Oscar Chinchilla. Marza now, who does look up the inside into the turn 7 complex. What are these guys going to do? Can we get a decent shot of it? Side by side they're going to go. Dodman forces the issue and makes sure that he defends that position there to hang on to P4, with Marza now in P5 pushing very hard indeed as they are nose to tail once again through the flat chicane there, if you can call it that, at turns 9 and 10. They approach 11 and 12 now. Again, Marza pressure all over the back of Dodman there. Interesting to see how these guys play out. Meanwhile, back up front, they are nose to tail still as the race for the checkered continues, AJ.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant driving. I'm very impressed with Kabanka right now because he's soaking up so much heat from Verhoeven, and all in the meanwhile, he's brought the gap back down to Cantor, back down to 4/10 of a second. So showing that Kabanka is really putting his hand up for the win here tonight. He's got the speed by the looks of it. Cantor looking a little bit slidey. He'd probably be saying the car's on the ice tonight. A little bit slippery. Verhoeven getting very aggressive, very aggressive. He did this last lap. He came across and took a very shallow run. Takes a little bit wider, gives Kabanka a little bit more room this time as they get past the lap car. But Verhoeven putting all sorts of pressure on Kabanka right now. I do not know how they're not touching.
I don't know where to look, which camera to grab on board there. They're full. Oh, I'll tell you what, Verhoeven, he's made that work in amongst the lap car, which I have to say, Mr. Bruckner might want to lift out a bit more, mate, when the leaders are coming through. But what that has meant is an opportunity for Verhoeven, who has grabbed it with both hands to get through on Kabanka. It has cost them about half a second on Cantor, and with just the balance of 4 laps remaining, 3 as they cross the line this time as they approach the closing stages of lap 12. What we have now is a race for the final 3 laps to determine this outcome of round 10 here of Monday Night Lights. Can Verhoeven has already grabbed a 10th on Cantor. Catch and then pass in those final 3 laps, AJ.
Yeah, there's going to be a fascinating end to the race. Verhoeven showing all sorts of speed here tonight. He's been a little bit wild and loose at times, but if you can string this last 3 laps together, I think we could have a pretty good showdown on the last lap or 2.
Yeah, just quickly ducking back down in the field, we've got the 2 Venom boys racing together in Mark Jeffrey and Les Peck, although it looks like Mark might be not donning the Venom livery here tonight. They're having a fair old battle for the final spot in the top 10. Just trying to pick out any other battles at the moment. It's just really the ones that we've been watching in Marza and Dodman. Marza looking up the inside now once again on the run out of turn 5. Looks to maybe have gotten it done this time round. Side by side they go again on the approach to turn 7. The downhill twisty bits, A, B, C, D, they're all there. And Dodman taking the inside line. Oh, there's contact. 2 by 2 they tried to go, and Mars taking an off-road excursion there. No doubt he'll have a big black flag waving at him. Oh, I don't know about that, gentlemen. I'm not sure that that's quite cricket, but we'll let the stewards talk to that one after the race. Meanwhile, we jump back up front and we have Furhoff now all over the back of Canter with Kabanka, looking like he may have run his race. Now we've got the balance 2 as they come through the final corner. 2 laps to go this time round as they cross the line. What is Furhoff going to do? Has he got the run enough to have a look into turn 1? No. Probably one of the riskier passing manoeuvres on this circuit, and probably not worth the risk at this stage as he runs wide. Let the car float out to then apex late through turn 4 up the hill. Through turn 3 I should say, up turn 4 now up the hill. Now what's he going to do? Enzo, as you would expect, Canter going defensive, and although Furhoff going so deep around the outside, almost able to get it done. He will of course now have the run on Canter into turns 7 and 7 and 7 down the hill. A, B and C. Can Enzo defend? Yes, he can. Furhoff showing the nose up the inside. Interesting, there's really only one quick line through there. These guys showing that they can manoeuvre even with the narrowest of margins, as Furhoff now tucked right up behind Canter now as they go through the flat chicane at 9 and 10. Who's your money on from here, AJ?
Well, I think it's going to be Canter, to be honest. Canter, one of the hardest guys to race. Oh, is Furhoff. He's just managed to try and put himself on the inside. Canter just holding on to it. And Gabanka trying to capitalise. He's right back in it now. I do not know. I'm not a betting man. I don't want to put my money anywhere, Alex, because Gabanka has just taken the lead from Canter.
Oh, fantastic control once again from another one of our regulars there. Canter now wheel to wheel. I'm sure they interlock wheels there. Furhoff and Canter on the exit of the final corner there. Fantastic control from Canter, who's put under all sorts of pressure. I'm not sure if there was contact or not, but the rear of Canter's car went very loosely there through the final stages of the penultimate lap as they come around now the opening section of the track through turn 3 now for the final time up the hill over the crest through turn 4. Furhoff now looking to the outside to try and get it done. Will Canter try and make this 3 wide? My guess is yes, he will. Trying to poke the nose up the inside. 3 wide they go. That is not going to work surely, and Furhoff gets turned around and tied up with Kabanka there. And who it is, it's our old mate, Joachim Bruckner, car number 11, deciding that he'll get in amongst this even though he's a lap down. But that's okay at this stage. Furhoff now driving off and recovering, and it looks like Canter has shown the nose and shown a clean pair of heels as a result. Why don't we just go back and grab a quick look at that while we've got a moment. Because I don't know about you, but it looked like a fairly ambitious move to me, AJ.
Yeah, so I just had a quick look at it, and you would say it was quite a dive up the inside from Canter. So I think there'll be some angry words. Haven't heard anything in chat yet, but some unhappy drivers at the end of this one tonight. And Gabanka could even lose 3rd place to Dodman, a hard charging Dodman, who has nearly caught him with about 3 corners to go. It's looking like Gabanka is going to lose 3rd place to Dodman, so that's just going to rub salt into the wounds for poor Gabanka, who's looking like he could have taken this one out tonight.
Yeah, well, he's Furhoff showing his displeasure at the result there with, yes, in fact, Dodman did pick up 3rd place in the end. And Kabanka, his stricken Skippy, looking decidedly worse for wear as other drivers just crossed the line in and around him. I'll tell you what, AJ, that was not short of excitement and action. I tell you what, there'd be some work for the stewards after that one, whether it be the great Neem Cross himself or the virtual ones would be, I think, required to decide some of the outcomes there. I'd suggest that if Enzo graces us with his present, he'll have a story to tell. He gave us a bit of a wiggle there over the line. So he was certainly celebrating a victory. But I've got to say, from what I saw, it looked like. Let me just go back and see if I can't get an onboard from him. Let me just grab a view, see if we can't go back to the incident. Yeah, that's about it. If we grab the cockpit view here from Cantor, we are on board with our race winner here as we look at the replay here. Now you can see he's got the mega draft of 2 skippies there. The door is open on the inside. What I'm going to be interested to see here is the tight line here and what it does. So I saw he picked up a lot of grass here, but can he hold the apex curb? And at full lock, you're probably going to say not. He's certainly a long way from the apex curbing there. I don't know that the guys behind who are at this stage caught up in a very cosy tangle there and driving away with a couple of damaged skips will be thanking him for that. But look, it was an exciting race throughout, AJ. And the guys certainly put on a good show. But and I've got to tell you, the highlight for me tonight was some of the car control of the guys who did get into trouble at different stages throughout the race, whether it be of their own making or a little bit of contact with some of their competitors. But certainly in a track where we don't normally see a lot of action or at least a lot of participation, the guys have come out in force and put on a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. There was great driving right throughout the race. I saw we were about halfway through and realised we had another half of a race to go. There was that much action at the start. But yeah, you're right. Great racing throughout for the most part. And, it's great. Even these tracks, even though they're not so popular, they can still put on some great side-by-side racing. I'd say that this is one of the better skippy tracks, if I'm honest.
Yeah, look, I don't understand why it's so unpopular. I think it's a fantastic track. I really do. And the guys who do turn up seem to all enjoy it tremendously. So hopefully this is an example once again of the great skippy racing that our cohort can put on. And many more people will come out in the coming seasons. We've got 2 more seasons with Barber Motorsports Park, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a fantastic track to get a good race in. But for now, we have our race winner in the commentary booth, or the green room, I should say, and I'll bring him up for a chat. Mr. Enzo Cantor, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth. Congratulations on the win tonight. Certainly, I would suggest the going where angels fear to tread with that passing manoeuvre at the last lap there, mate. Talk us through what was going through your mind as you went for that move into turn 5 on the final lap.
Hi guys. Let me see one thing today. Today I didn't hear at all the ring to get up. I opened my eyes 10 minutes before the race. Computer was still shut down. I had to wash my face, my hands, start PC, calibrate the wheel in 8 minutes without doing any practice. So I wasn't sure to do the race today, but I tried to qualify. I was third, and I was satisfied from that. Then, I was not in me at all. I was still a bit confused about sleeping. In first lap, I tried to pass Econ, I think, because it was a little bit slow in the exit of the chicane, the fast chicane, and I was a little bit too aggressive. We had a touch, fortunately, no damage for both of us, but I was too aggressive there, so I have to say sorry to him. And finally, in the last hairpin, well, 3 wide is a crazy thing there, but I tried. I tried. and I was on the extreme left. If you look at the replay, I was on the extreme left entering the corner because I wanted to leave much room as possible to the other two cars. But because of that, I was too near to the apex and the curb entering the corner, so I was a little bit wide turning in, just because I was off line. And well, obviously it was my fault again. So yeah, I won today, but I didn't deserve the victory today.
Yeah, look, I got to say, Enzo, the racing throughout the field was fantastic tonight. We saw that final 3 wide into turn 5, very similar to how you saw it. So, look, it was a bold move, and I think you summed it up very correctly. We had a look on board with you, and it was a very tight line into that corner, and that pushed you wide into the other two. So, look, very pleasing that you see it the same way, and that we had our eyes on the prize tonight and we're able to sort of call it as we saw it as well. So, look, we do appreciate your support for the series, mate. Even in this sort of track, which doesn't bring out the big numbers, you're here week in, week out supporting the series, mate. Congratulations on another victory here tonight, which will certainly put you right up in the hunt for the Monday Night Lights series overall victory. Once again, of course, you were leading up until last week, but I think you might be with a show of getting back up to the top this week, mate. So before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yes, thank you. The fact is that I am fighting for the championship, so for that reason I was too aggressive today. We are so near of me, Fahim Ben and Kevin Anderson too. So 1, 2, or 3 points make the difference in this season. So probably I was too much aggressive, and again I have to say sorry to my competitors today. I had to be able to go away after Ben full of mistakes. But this morning I had not the pace to do that because probably I was almost half sleeping. But again, sorry to Akon and Ben. And yeah, I have to say thanks to my team, Transmaster Mivano, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, you for the broadcast on the other drivers, and also that drivers that are pushed from me sometimes.
Yeah.
I did not it on purpose.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Enzo. We look forward to your company in the coming weeks, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Good evening to you.
Thanks, Enzo. There you go, AJ. Pretty matter of fact description of events, which was pretty much how we saw it as well. I guess the question remains, do you address that kind of situation, or do you carry on and take the victory? I mean, we saw the answer tonight, at least from Enzo. I know others would take a different route, but Enzo obviously very competitive. We see that in his driving. We see that in his attitude to an incident like that as well. And, in some respects, you let the stewards decide afterwards as well. So, look, it's a complicated issue when you see something like that, the driver clearly at fault and admitting as such and apologising for it. But yeah, certainly one, hopefully, that will be learned from, and we'll continue to see the high standard of driving that we expect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the nature of the beast with the official racing. I mean, there's no live stewards, despite us watching. We can't do anything about situations when they pop up on track. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. And I think Verhoff and Kabanka probably walk away with that one with the moral victory, but that doesn't really patch the wound short term. I'm sure that they'll be ruining this one tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Mr. Kabanka, we will bring up our third place getter here tonight, or fourth place, unfortunately. What could have been Christian. Mate, fantastic drive tonight. I thought, AJ and I were both saying, fantastic measures of strategy and pace, and what it all sort of came undone. We've just heard from Enzo Cantor and as to his views on it and how he thought The move was, not his best, and was apologetic for that, mate. An unfortunate way to finish for you, but can I say congratulations on how you handled yourself under such immense pressure?
Thanks, Alex. In regards to the race, I don't. I'm still a little dumbfounded, to be honest. I've after that incident on the last lap, I said some things to Enzo, and for anyone that was in the race um, that heard me, I apologize for my use of language. But yeah, up until that point, it was a relatively good race. I think of the three of us, I think Ben the quickest, was the quickest, and I did my best to try to hold him off, but I think it was inevitable that he would overtake me, and I was hoping when he overtook me, I was hoping that he would get Enzo and they would battle it out, and then I would get back into the mix with them, which I did, and then thankfully I got into the lead on the last lap, and yeah, that incident took place.
Yeah, mate. Like I said, strategy wise, you played almost the perfect hand. We thought you were out of it, and then all of a sudden, we got the excitement factor when the three of you were coming together, and then you went through for the lead. Again, like I said, a great mix of pace and strategy, mate. And I know that we're all passionate in the cockpit, and I'm sure your fellow competitors will understand that and forgive what might have been said after the race in a moment of passion, mate. But listen, I'm sure it's either very late, or very early, depending on your perspective on things. And I know we certainly do appreciate your support for the racing here down under. But congratulations on what was a fantastic drive. I thought you were in it from flag to flag, mate, and through circumstances probably not of your own making there, robbed of the opportunity for, well, if not the top step on the podium, one of the others for sure. So congratulations on your race, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I would like to give a shout out to Russell Clark and Les Peck for making the race at least somewhat entertaining in terms of listening to. They were on the radio in Discord along with me, and it's fun to chat with them while racing, and especially Russell, who likes to make certain comments on the race, and they're very funny.
Yes, he does have somewhat of a Sahara-like dry wit, I have to admit, and it has brought a smile to my face on more than one occasion. So big shout out to Russell Sexy Buns Clark. Thank you, Christian. Thanks for joining us, mate, and we look forward to hopefully having more of your company in future races.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm looking forward to the Sunday Night Lights. I'll have I think I'll have many more opportunities to race, and hopefully have fun with you guys.
Awesome, Christian. That's the music to our ears, mate. The move to Sunday night is all about broadening our horizons and getting people such as your good self involved regularly. So good news, mate, and all the best for the coming weeks. And like I said, we hope to see you many more times.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely show up as frequently as I can. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian. There you go, AJ. A somewhat of a good view on what's to come here. Of course, we've made the announcement in a couple of places. I think we might have mentioned it last week, but we will be moving to Sunday Night Lights as of next season. Big move for us, but one we are looking forward to. We have one final person for an interview here tonight. Of course, it is Mr. Corey Steinhauser, who does have a life despite what his Twitch channel might say. Corey, our roving reporter from the second split tonight, we've kept you waiting, mate. Give us some insight into what happened in the second split tonight.
Well, yeah, it was a bit of a crazy race. We had a couple of cars stall on the grid. I actually got a 4X off of one of them. I'm still not sure who it was. I'll go back in the replay later and have a look. But yeah, there was lots of death and destruction in the first 2 or 3 laps, and I'd actually gotten to a high point of fourth before a couple of mistakes in turn one dropped me back down. And then, unfortunately, a last lap incident with Fabrice Renault kept me down in P7 with Jason being a beneficiary, gaining 2 positions there in the final 2 corners.
Yeah, mate. So the winners and grinners tonight, who have you got for us?
So first place we had the 9 car of Adam Simpson. The 2 of Jay William Smith came in second, and Tibor Whitman, after starting towards the back of the pack, actually made his way through the field and the carnage up into P3.
Awesome. Well, sounds like there was plenty going on in your split, mate. There was plenty going on in ours as well. Some high quality racing at our end of the field with some incidents thrown in. Sounds like you had an adventurous night as well, mate. I thought you might be on for a top split run tonight, given the somewhat sparse popularity of this track, but unfortunately, it'll have to be in the coming weeks, mate. When you get some results go your way, and hopefully we'll see you here in the top split, and we can talk firsthand and see what you're up to.
Yeah, well, that is the dream eventually. And while I'm here, I want to give a quick shout out to my Twitch channel and all the people watching. You guys are amazing, and so are my mods. Also, a quick shout out to my road team, BRT, and the Friday Night Race Club, who have been absolutely awesome and instrumental in helping me get going on the road side of things.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. Where can people find you on Twitch, of course, where I assume you're still live, if not regularly, any given day of the week?
I am still live. I'm about to pass the torch on to someone else at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. And mature content warning, I do use a lot of profanities.
Yes, just for those of you playing at home, just be mindful of that and don't get a shock if you joined Corey. All right, Corey, thanks for joining us, mate. Look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
No worries. I'll see you guys next week at Watkins Glen.
Sounds good. AJ, there you have it. That was young Corey Steinhauser, of course, liking to call him our roving reporter from the lower splits. Only the 2 splits here tonight, representative of potentially the popularity of this track, although I got a bit worried there. If Enzo's alarm hadn't actually woken him, we might have been down to 1 split, but certainly plenty of folks came out and put on what I thought was a really good race. You know, this track breeds some good racing despite its lack of popularity.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And I thought tonight the racing was really great. We've seen plenty of great racing throughout, and that really excites me going into potentially, well, not potentially, we are going into Sunday Night Lights. So more of the same, more of the top guys racing on layouts like this. It's certainly an exciting prospect. But Motegi next week, and that should continue the fun. Still plenty of action to be had around there.
Well, that's the plan. Motegi and then Watkins, which will be in a couple of weeks, which is a great track to finish on. Potentially one of the more draft dependent tracks than we've seen previous weeks. Certainly this track is not one that depended on draft, but certainly you get that variety in the skips and the variety in the tracks, which brings, of course, the different styles of racing, which we all love so much in this category. Well, you know what? I forgot to do last week, but I'm going to do this week. The race results. I nearly did it twice in a row. Just a quick review or a recap, folks. Finishing in P1 tonight was Enzo Cantor from Italy. Closely followed, 3 seconds behind in the end after that incident, by the leading ANZ driver in Ben Furhoff. P3 was Hayden Dodman, who had his scraps throughout the night but did very well to hold on from there and finish 3rd step on the podium tonight. P4, the unlucky Christian Cabanca from California, who stayed up late and joined us and put on a really good drive. And in my opinion, one of the drivers of the night, if not the driver of the night. P5 went to Brodie Watts, another ANZ local there. P6, Cristobal Otero Roman, leading of our Iberian drivers here tonight. P7, Sean Caron from ANZ. P8, Jose M. Emil Perez, who we didn't actually see much of on track, but certainly a top 10 finish, nothing to sneeze at. P9, the first of the 2 Team Venom races in Mark Jeffrey. P10, his teammate in Les Peck. Fantastic to see Les back here on a Monday Night Lights in the top split. P11, Oscar Chinchilla Maza, who we saw had that unfortunate end to his race. P12, last of the MNL point scoring position, Simon Bailey from ANZ. P13, lucky number 11, Joachim Bruckner, who decided to scrap it out with the leaders at one point despite being a lap down. P14, Frank Herman, who was 4 laps down. P15, Russell Clark, unfortunate exit for him, 6 laps down. And Kevin Henderson, our final retiree after the unfortunate incident he had whilst right up amongst it. AJ, that is the end of round 10. Another fantastic week in Monday Night Lights. Tell me, what's coming up in the world of AJ Racing Online?
Look, I'm going to finally get into a GTE car. I signed up for this league, and I think they're about halfway through the Australian GTE League Sprint Series this round, I think, at Road America. So that should be interesting on Wednesday nights. And then back into the F3s Thursday with you. Hopefully another good result on the cards, Alex.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Fantastic podium. Of course, by yourself, representing team Top Split Racing. I managed to sneak in another top 10 to continue my charge in that series. Looking forward to doing that. People can find you, of course, at AJ_17. 77. Jeepers. I'll get it right
Careful.
one day. I know. 77. AJ_77 on Twitch. You can find me similarly on Twitch at the Top Split TV Twitch channel there on your screen, where I'll be racing on a Thursday night in the F3 Championship and whatever I can manage on a Friday and throughout the week as well. That, folks, brings an end to our broadcast for this evening. Thank you all once again for joining us. We really do appreciate the support. I've been your host, Alex McKellar, on behalf of the good Dr. Alex John. Thank you for joining us, and ciao for now.